Navy aircraft carriers are key players on the high seas. They launch fighter jets and take down enemy ships, and serve as a testament to a nation's military prowess. The more of these a country has, the stronger its position becomes at sea. Interestingly, not every country owns these powerful vessels. Some don't have a single one, while others have them in bulk. But who might come out on top if a conflict arises? Let's take a look at the 10 countries with the strongest aircraft carriers in the world. Russia. Russia has only one aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov. The vessel was commissioned in 2012. It weighs 58,000 tons and measures 1,000 feet long. This vessel hasn't been used much in the last few decades. It's more regarded as a symbol by the Russian government. However, it is a fairly good carrier able to operate up to 24 fighter jets and 6 choppers simultaneously. But compared to most modern-day warships and carriers patrolling the seas today, Admiral Kuznetsov is a relic. Thailand. Thailand has only one aircraft carrier, the smallest in the world, the HTMS Chakri Narubat. This carrier was built in Spain and completed in 1997. It weighs just 11,000 tons with a length of approximately 600 feet. It can contain 6 AV-8 fighter jets and 6 SH-60 Seahawk choppers. But the most interesting thing about this carrier is the royal accommodation built into it. Fit for a king. However, with all of its promising features, Thailand abandoned this aircraft carrier, and though it's still in active service, it rarely leaves the port. Brazil. Brazil is another country with a single naval aircraft carrier, the Atlântico. Initially, this vessel was designed to be a landing platform for helicopters and was a property of the Royal Navy. The vessel, which was named HMS Ocean, measures 667 feet and weighs over 21,000 tons. It wasn't much of a warship because it had limited defense capabilities. The most it could do was contain 6 or more Apache attack helicopters, which could be utilized for offensive strikes. The Royal Navy decommissioned this vessel in 2018, and Brazil wasted time purchasing it. The Brazilian Navy made several improvements to the HMS Ocean, transforming the vessel into a multi-purpose aircraft carrier. They also gave it the official name Atlântico. The Atlântico can contain 40 vehicles and 800 troops and carry at least 18 helicopters. Brazil would have had a total of 3 carriers, but 2 of them have been decommissioned. Turkey. Turkey's one and only naval aircraft carrier is the TCG Anadolu. It is a light aircraft carrier equipped with basic aviation facilities and a sky ramp, able to launch and recover amphibious landing craft. Turkey is working on revamping this carrier, so it can be equipped with Bayraktar TB3 combat aerial vehicles. These vehicles are the latest innovative aerial combat machines able to take surveillance or deliver airstrikes with no man on board to control them. By the time the project is completed, Turkey's carrier would be well equipped to carry up to 50 TB3s, making it a close competitor to the numbers seen in US Navy carriers. Italy. The Italian Navy currently owns 2 active aircraft carriers. The first one, Giuseppe Garibaldi, is a 590-foot-long, 13,930-ton sea monster armed with anti-submarine warfare capabilities and STOVL aircraft. It was commissioned in September 1985 and is the first Navy ship that can operate fixed-wing aircraft. Giuseppe served in the Afghanistan War and also played a vital role in the 2011 intervention in Libya. The second aircraft carrier of the Italian Navy is named Cavour. The ship was commissioned in 2008 and measured 800 feet in length and 30,000 metric tons at full capacity. It can comfortably launch and receive multiple landing aircraft and hovercraft, including 10 F-35Bs and a dozen choppers all at once. Japan. Japan was one of the pioneers of aircraft carriers until most of their carriers became obsolete and had to be decommissioned. So far, Japan has decommissioned 20 carriers, leaving just 2 in active service. Japan's carriers were formerly a little behind compared to their modern-day counterparts because they could only contain helicopters. Japan had to remodel these carriers to deploy or recover F-35B fighter jets. Japan's carriers are named Izumo and Kaga. They both have a displacement of 27,000 tons and now possess heat-resistant flight decks. aviation lighting, aircraft maintenance facilities, and other necessary for a fully operational aircraft carrier. As of 2023, Izumo and Kaga can contain at least a dozen F-35B fighters. Before we go down to our final three, please subscribe to our channel because we're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this month. France. The French Navy is one of the most formidable naval forces in the world. The force boasts nearly 100 vessels, including 9 submarines, 6 anti-submarine ASW destroyers, 4 air defense-focused destroyers, and their primary asset, the nuclear aircraft carrier. France would have been among the top 3 in this list, save for the fact that a majority of their Navy aircraft carriers have been decommissioned. Over the last few decades, France has decommissioned about 7 aircraft carriers, leaving only 1 in active service. But France's sole surviving carrier, Charles de Gaulle, is worth all of their other decommissioned carriers combined. This vessel is just 858 feet long and weighs 45,000 tons. But it is the only nuclear-powered carrier in the world besides those owned by the US Navy. It proved to be a phenomenal asset during the war against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban in 2001 and 2002. France has plans to build one more carrier to replace Charles de Gaulle. This one will weigh 75,000 tons and feature advanced aircraft drones. India. India is another country with a good number of vessels under the command of its naval fleet. However, currently India has only 2 vessels on the high seas, the INS Vikramaditya and the INS Vikrant. The Vikramaditya is a Kiev-class carrier that initially served the Soviet Navy before being handed over to the Indian Navy after the war. The Indians remodeled it into a fully operational carrier. However, modifications are ongoing on this aircraft as of 2023 to make it a full battle-ready ship that can fare well against its modern-day counterparts. The IMS Vikrant was commissioned in 2022 as a sister carrier to the Vikramaditya. It is much larger and loaded with more artillery like GE turbine engines, anti-submarine warfare choppers, and several fighter jets. The name Vikrant means, "I defeat those who fight against me." This vessel cost about $2.9 billion to build, and with its help, the Indian Navy is set to dominate the Indian Ocean for years to come. China. China's Navy has 2 aircraft carriers, Liaoning and Changdong. These vessels are pretty new. Liaoning is a 999-foot-long, 67,000-ton military vessel that initially belonged to the Soviet Union. After the Soviet Union fell, the vessel was handed over to China. It took a while before China could refurbish and finally commission it in 2012. Since then, the ship has been used as a training ship for new naval officers. The Chinese Navy's latest vessel is the Shandong. It was commissioned in 2019 and looks similar to the Liaoning. However, unlike the Liaoning, Shandong is a full-fledged aircraft carrier with full functionality and combat abilities. This vessel is currently the Chinese Navy's flagship, but not for long. China is currently working on a 3rd carrier in Shanghai. This new aircraft carrier is expected to become fully operational in 2024. United Kingdom. The UK's Royal Navy was the first ever to build and operate a true aircraft carrier, the HMS Argus. Now, they're the 2nd largest world power when it comes to aircraft carriers. Currently, the UK has 2 carriers in active service, with about 55 decommissioned. The carriers are named HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales. These vessels weigh 72,000 tons at full capacity and measure 920 feet long. The HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales are currently the largest warships ever used by the Royal Navy and can carry up to 36 F-35B fighters. They have a lifespan of 50 years. United States. The US Navy is number 1 in the world in terms of firepower, numbers, and technology and sophistication. The US Navy runs 2 classes of super carriers, the Nimitz and the Ford classes. The Nimitz class consists of 10 ships, each weighing 105,000 tons at full capacity, with a length of 1,092 feet. For the Ford class, we have the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier, which is currently setting the pace for other aircraft carriers worldwide. This carrier boasts of next-generation features like unlimited range, surface-to-air missiles, electromagnetic aircraft launch system, dual-band radar, and lasers with nearly unlimited firing capabilities. Both the Nimitz and Ford classes can accommodate up to 75 fighter jets and have a lifespan of 50 years. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable.